ways to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the La U Times Podcast.
Host it again and talk about the offseason with Tigres. Fellas, Alfred, how we doing tonight?
Good, and you, man?
Doing well. Caught me sleeping there, but I'm awake.
I thought for a second that you were yawning, or it was something with your audio or something.
Yeah, I was definitely yawning a little bit. It's been quite a bit of the stretch of days / months, so hopefully I can wake up with some Tigres talk, but we'll see. Double Nation, Edgar, how we doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good. Very glad to be back with you guys. It's been a couple days.
Yeah, no kidding. Some good days for some specific team in Mexico City, but not for us. Lastly, Dennis, how we doing, my friend?
I had a great day on the internet yesterday, I think as most of us did. So it's made today good, even though work today was very frustrating with the children that I was encountering today. But I had a lot of fun last night. All right, unofficial sponsor for tonight. I know you guys will get these like healthier things that I'll just randomly show. We ain't doing none of that. You know why? Because it's Christmas. So tonight's unofficial sponsor is the Classic.
Bro.
Nice.
What?
The best.
I don't even think I've had the regular ones in a very long time. Are you pulling off the Christmas ones?
Yeah, bro. Dude, there's a place here in Fort Worth that has, I was telling Edgar about it the other day. They sell an ice cream that is like peppermint and white chocolate like flavored, and then they throw like pieces of this like inside the ice cream. It's crack.
Do you diabetes on diabetes, basically?
Yeah, exactly.
When you eat those, do you dip them in milk or you just drink the milk?
Nah, I just eat it by itself.
I'm
not a milk guy, to be honest.
I love milk.
Maybe that's why my abuelo always says, "Toma tu leche, por eso estás tan chiquito." And I was like, "You're only 2 inches taller than me, so I had bad genes to begin with."
No kidding. Guys, it's been let's sum it up in simple terms. It's been a terrible offseason for Tigres. Effortless. Zero motivation. And you would think otherwise when you have seen and witnessed a team go and pull off a three-peat. And I want to start with that conversation. I know this is not an America podcast, but I want to start there and use that as fuel. And our team should be using that as fuel because we had a chance of achieving that. And I know you can blame it on the ref at one point, but that didn't signify us winning. That just signified us tying the game in that championship game against Chivas that wasn't called in that penalty with Santander. So there was still more game to be played. So that doesn't really equalize it, in my opinion. I mean, I was upset at the fact that he didn't call the penalty and we didn't get that. But I think that, honestly, that played in our favor because that lined up the Final Regia and we were able to pull that off. So we don't know, right? We don't functions off of the what if. But shout out Club America. Three-peat. That's an incredible feat to accomplish. But what does that say about our league, man? One team? Is this just is everybody else not good enough to beat this team? This team that struggled most of the season after winning the back-to-back championships and crawled into the play-in and ultimately was able to put on a great Liguilla, caught momentum at the end of the season. Players came back from injury. But instead of causing a motivating factor for the rest of the 17 teams, and more so our team in this case, who we discuss on this pod. It just seems like there's still no traction of effort from our board and our leadership to right the ship and what we're doing with our club. And if anything, it just has an end destination that people, or in this case, our legends and players, are going to get off. It's like we're on a cruise ship and they're about to touch, the port, and all these legends are about to hop off this ship, and we don't know who's going to lead the ship. And that comes structurally from club aspect and leadership to even player wise. We don't know who's going to take on that role of being with somebody and leading us that's important there. So I don't know, guys. What do we think about, maybe not necessarily about America specifically, but the fact that they were able to put that feat together, and then what it means for our club and how we should be moving forward, especially with no signing yet, or even like truthful rumors. Like, I feel like I don't know where Vladimir Garcia has been, like under a rock. Where are the rumors? Where are the other guys that normally, Jorge Rosales, Edgar Martinez, even Pello Maldonado? I heard a live today talking about Cordova being on a potential list, not even like an offer or he's going to get bought, a potential list when his contract expires a year from now. Like, where are we? Like, are we just not working as far as our club is going on? So I don't know. I don't want to. Whoever just wants to speak, we'll leave it up to who's willing to take on the role. I'm not even going to call on somebody. All right, Alfred, go ahead, lead it for me.
Just want to touch base on what you were talking about. America coming in through the play-in, and then just it just makes it seem like nobody's able to compete. But like, we wrote this formula, like literally, a decade ago, we were the team that was, kind of surfing through the season, and then, barely making it in Liguilla. And then once Liguilla came, nobody could beat us. We literally were that team. And everybody else was trying to compete against us, trying to take away the championship from us year after year. So, yeah, I mean, props to America. Congrats to them. They managed to get the three-peat, which we didn't during our time. But it isn't something unseen. Like, we did it before them. And just referencing earlier, I was watching ESPN. I forget what the show, one of their afternoon shows was. And they were actually talking about which team was the best team in history of the Liga MX. And they were talking about Guiñac's Tigres, compared with Toluca's Cardoso's Toluca, with Ojitos Mesa's Pachuca, with a bunch of hard hitters teams throughout the years, and they still put Guiñac's Tigres as number one, even above Jardines America. So yeah, I mean, they've done a lot, or they accomplished a great feat in this last 3 seasons, but we did it over a longer period of time. I mean, we might not have gotten a three-peat, but we were year after year the team to beat. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's something that it's now in the past, or it seems that it's now in the past, but it's something that we still should be proud of, that our team is going to be talked about for ages to come.
Yeah, I think I said it on this pod a while back. That 2000 team on paper was probably the best team historically the Liga MX has seen. And even though this three-peat has, that America has completed, I think even player per player, when you compare that 2017 squad to this team of the America, I think Tigres on paper, player-wise, still might be better. And I think that's why maybe ESPN show that you were watching earlier, it's where I saw, I think, a picture of it. It was with Hercules Gomez, right? And Mauricio Pedrosa.
Yeah, I shared it on a group. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, and obviously, like, I like their takes because it's not like so like fútbol picante at night. They're just trying to make a show of what they're saying. But ultimately, going back to my point, I think that team in 2017 was a really good team that definitely deserved more. And what makes you think, especially with Tuca being on television now, how much managerial aspect we lacked, even though Tuca won a ton with us, that we could have even won more. And that's going to be the reflection, I think, of most Tigres fans that have experienced this era and now are experiencing America going through this era. Because also credit to America during that decade, like America was up to par in what we were doing, even the success that we were having. America was still there, being relevant during that decade that we were important. So it's really interesting, man. Like I said, I definitely envy their success. I think that they're definitely the team to model after in Mexican soccer. And now 8 championships away from where we stand as far as what they have accomplished in their total years, and obviously they've been around longer. Dennis or Edgar, anything that you guys would like to chime in from my opening statements, and then what Alfred has now contributed?
I blame this on Fulgencio. I'm kidding. I mean, it's frustrating in the sense of like what you guys have already mentioned is that we could have had so much more. I mean, we all think about this, that Clausura 2016 championship that we should have had, honestly, if not for just incompetence by the officials of our league, which America doesn't have to deal with that. And Tuca a little bit, yes, but like America has had a lot of luck in the last 3 half seasons. So maybe if there was a little bit more fortune our way, then maybe we would have had, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 league titles by now. I mean, it's not surprising. Obviously, Jardine was not super well known before he got hired, and then obviously he's transformed into this really solid coach, really good coach. And they've spent well, and they already had kind of a base there. So it's just frustrating because I feel like, especially in the case of our team, like they're trying to be ambitious and they're trying to, be in as many things as possible and be as successful in as many things as possible. I mean, they won like 5 trophies in the last 12 months, right? 6? Yeah. 3 leagues, Campeón de Campeones, Supercopa, and Campeones Cup against Columbus, right? Am I missing anything else?
Nope.
So exactly like how can we let that happen? Obviously, like people were probably asking the same thing when we were, in our run. But it's like there has to be some sort of parity. And in the case of Tigres is like we should be, like you just mentioned, how America was still relevant even in our like golden era. We need to still be that. Yes, we had that championship 18 months ago, but that was 18 months ago. Have not done a lot since then. Yes, we made one final, but this calendar year has been atrocious when you look back at the bigger picture. Yeah. So where is that ambition coming from? Where are we seeing that from our front office, from the people who make decisions? Because I don't care that we're about to have the last dance in the season. Like we need to bring in people. We need to show some sort of, desire to be up at that level, regardless of, the legends about to leave, which I know we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Like get after it and let's go win another trophy or 2 or multiple. But at this rate, when is that ever going to happen? Not with this leadership, not with this head coach.
Bro, it seems more, instead of being the last dance, it seems more like the last kick to the curve of all these players. And what a wasteful end to end the last 6 months of our historical players. And it just goes back to show that we are just awful, extremely awful, probably the worst when it comes to proper exits for important people in our club. No matter at what level you have seen it, it's just awful. It's never like a clean exit. It's never like a proper goodbye. It's just always some off the field, something mishandled incorrectly along the way that just makes you scratch your head in terms of why would we do that to such important people. And there's so many things that have happened in the past with players and coaches that and now we're about to see with players again. Edgar, how we doing tonight? What do you think about our opening remarks as far as the three-peat and what that means for us moving forward and what we can accomplish?
I think this definitely needs to be pushing our front office to get back at it. I mean, especially, Culebro came from America. Culebro, this is what he was hired over there to do, didn't do it. Now he had a second opportunity with Tigres, with different resources, different mindsets. And I don't think he's taken advantage of that. I think he definitely needs to realize, we, like, kind of like Dennis was saying, we have to stay relevant. Our last title was 18 months ago. That's a really long time. It might not seem like that for, other fans or other clubs, but when we're talking about Tigres, that's a very long time. And I want to bring up another club who's, also having a lot of success right now, Pachuca, that with, different methodologies and different style of management, but they're in an Intercontinental Cup final against Real Madrid now. And that's, something Tigres should have been striving and aiming for. We have CONCACAF Champions Cup coming up in 2 months in February. That's a mandatory tournament that we have to win. And I think that with preseason starting in 3 days, you have 2 tournaments, we should have had a signing by now. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter if it was in Liga MX or someone international. We should have done something by now. And we haven't.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Especially when there's so many rumors circling around other teams that were in the playoffs longer than we were in the Liguilla. You have rumors of Rayados already, being linked to De Osa and Cucho Hernandez from Columbus Crew. And then you have Cruz Azul with Chiquete Orozco, one of the better Mexican national team up-and-coming players, per se. They might get, that same card and deal that we got, just the popularity aspect and end up like us with all these young Mexican talents that never have gone to fully developed. And hopefully that's the case for them so they don't get better because they were an excellent team this season. Then you have, I saw today even a guy like Pollo Briseño with Toluca, but Toluca, who a team was excellent this season, just got a new coach and Antonio Mohamed and, firing Paiva, even, going longer than, what we, or having a better season than what we did. And now they added Pollo Briseño, which obviously is not someone to like circle around in terms of like potential contribution. But again, these teams are getting better, or there's rumors circling around these other teams who are striving to be better and hopefully compete against America, because we know America is a deep team and they demonstrated it in various different ways with, their coaching staff changing the way that they played, from how they have won the 2 championships to how they won this championship, tactically different, strategized differently, player rotations. So they're a deep team. And then you look at our squad and you're still with so many doubts about how we're going to line up this coming season. Is Gignac still going to be the best player at 40 years old? Because he's 40, if I'm not mistaken, this month. If not, he turned it 40 a few days ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And are we going to have Aquino be one of the better right backs again in the league and for us? And Pizarro being a defender of the year. So he turned 39. I'm my mistake. Pizarro being one of the better defenders. So if that's going to be the story, then we're screwed again for another season, because these guys cannot be the best players on our squad. And if they continue to do that for the next 6 months, then I don't see us aspiring for anything. We might get lucky here and there to maybe possibly advance to a semifinal. I thought we could have advanced to a semifinal against Atletico San Luis, especially with 39 shots on goals that we put on, or 39 shots in between both games. But ultimately, it's not. We don't have a squad to take down a America team and even a Cruz Azul team and even a Rayados team. I mean, let's be honest. Rayados is a deep squad as well. They might have shit the bed when it came to playing America in the final, but ultimately, I think that they have a better roster than we do, and they showed it with 5 different games that we played them, and we could not beat them on all of 2024. So ultimately, the team depth is definitely thin, and we got to figure out a way to either get this board to fall in line with the past that we've achieved and what we've constructed in terms of success on the field and off the field, to continue that path and fight with America and to compete for championships.
I would like to think that it's not because of money, right? Like Cemex.
Dude, I'm starting to believe it is.
But here's the thing, right? And I'm kind of going to not troll a little bit, but kind of make it lighthearted. Alfred is putting out this meme about jerseys like every 3 days because of all the random merch they keep dropping. Bro, the amount of money that I think all 4 of us collectively have spent on this team this year, whether through tickets, whether through the retros collection, whether through the new jersey that just dropped, the white jersey, the white and gold jersey. I mean, what more could you want? You've got all this revenue stream. Maybe they're not getting enough from the TV deal, or maybe they had to take a huge. I think they had to take a huge pay cut going from TUDN to the Azteca, right? Is that what we talked about at the start of the season? I don't know, but I would hope it's not that. Like, I don't think money has dried up, but
think about.
I think they're struggling also with the fact that they have all these players that
Wages.
they've not been able to sell. So there's there's money in the bank, but they still need that money flow, where you're selling players, money comes in, you're able to buy a different player. Right. And that's not happening. Like, players are, we're buying players, and then when we need to let them go, we end up loaning them because nobody's buying players from us.
The other thing too that's so interesting is that, on the topic of this being 3 days before the start of training, we haven't even had a real official announcement about a departure. Like, that has been surprising to me.
We haven't even had a press conference since we got eliminated. Nobody came out and talked about our aspirations. And hey, fans, thank you for a great season. We're really proud of everything that you guys did and accomplished for us by being there, buying all the merch that's been dropped every single month, and just show some sort of respect and transparency that you're willing to work.
Yeah, back in the Ingeniero Rodriguez days, even if there was no press conference, like, reporters would catch him outside the Volcán the day after getting eliminated, and he'd pump up the crowd. He'd be like, "No, pero vamos a regresar más fuertes el próximo año y vamos a contratar." And I mean, even if you're shouting out empty promises, but like, give us something,
Yeah, there's nothing, like, there's really nothing going on, and nothing shows any indication, or there's no evidence that they are actually working behind closed doors, because we would have had a signing already. We've been eliminated for more than 2 weeks? Today's would have been 2 weeks since we've been eliminated.
Yeah,
something like that. And ultimately, you like I mentioned, you have all these other teams who had a longer run in the Liguilla already been linked to multiple players and their arrival and when they're going to come on board for the new season and the CONCACAF, and Monterrey's case, the Mundial de Clubes. Pachuca's bringing a guy from is it Fluminense or Corinthians?
Flamengo. No. You're right, from Flu. What's his face? John Kennedy.
Yeah. And and I think that's where maybe we, I guess, club wise, at both institutional level with the boarding directors and on the field, sporting wise, at the time with Siboldi, that we didn't qualify for the Club World Cup, and that would have been a great way to attract more players. And maybe that's the case. Maybe Tigres, besides the wages and what we've accomplished recently and the exit, and they see the turmoil, they see maybe not the leadership being in the best way of producing a proper future, I guess. Maybe we're just not an attractive place to sign at the moment. You got somebody like America, who's always been an attractive place to sign, but maybe it's standing out more. Maybe Toluca's standing out more as an attractive place to sign, and we just don't have that aspect as well as the financial aspect, because If you think about it, we were buying 2 to 3 good players per season from the stretch of 2015 to 2019 at least. 20, 21. We're getting one a season now.
It's on the person that was doing the hirings, because I mean it was Miguel Angel Garza who was bringing all these players, and I don't know about Culebro or in this case Torrado, but like it just doesn't seem like these guys have any riz or I don't know what to say, you know, because they're not able to convince anybody to come.
Yeah,
I mean, the last like big signing, like real of any real significance, whether good or bad, was Flo, and Flo came in 2021.
yeah, but then you had Nando, that was one season,
Sure,
and then you had Nico Ibanez,
they're local. You know, you're talking about they're making a jump from a smaller team to a bigger team in the league that they know. So that's Gorriarán, that's Bruneta. But when you're talking about bringing players from the exterior that don't know anything about the league, or that at least are not familiarized with who's who in the league, you need to convince them.
Right. No, yeah, no, totally. I get that for sure. But I guess what I was trying to, get to was the fact that we were getting a Bruneta and somebody from South America that was a top dog, or from Europe, as like a potential player to fill in, like Oliver Torres in Monterrey's case, who is not, somebody like, he's going to come to be the best player, but it's like, okay, he might contribute something. And I'm not saying that he actually did contribute something for them, but that type of signing, somebody that, an Andy Delord who was brought, a Colo, that was able to come on. Who else? The guy that you talked about today, Alfred, Uche, top Nigerian player at the time. Guys like that, on top of signing the big players from the Mexican League that were making the big jump. We were having those type of seasons, like Ismael Sosa, right? Bringing on a Lucas Elarayan, who had potential, and was one of the better players in the Argentine league. So it doesn't seem like that flow of work structure behind the closed doors of negotiating is happening. And I just don't expect very much, right? Like, 2 signings can happen in the next 2 weeks, but like, what am I going to get excited about? Because we are potentially going to bring a player who is the backup on a Botafogo team, or a starting Ecuadorian who might had had a great season, but again, they're not top tier players. So it's a little sad.
When we were hiring players that were mid, or that they were experiments, or that we didn't know what to expect out of them, the team was purchasing them and loaning them out before even coming to Tigres.
Yep.
Like Leo Fernandez, like the Quiñones, they were acquiring, young players, foreign players, and loaning them out. They're not doing that anymore. We don't have any players that are ours and that are shining in other teams that we can just say, hey, now you're coming with us.
Well, do we really want to buy people from the Brazilian league when I would argue that they're probably not as good as the Mexican league, based on how Pachuca just kind of steamrolled over them the other day?
I wouldn't say that. I think
if anything, they're
the
equal.
Brazilian league is very competitive.
If anything, they're equal. I don't know if they're that much better than the Mexican league.
Or Botafogo was just on a stretch of a very tired run, and you caught them on a bad day.
Maybe.
I just don't think the future plan, the vision, is not there. I think that you can look across other teams, and there's not many. That's the thing, and that's why I started off talking about America and how the other teams would, how much motivation do they truly have? Because 3 back-to-back championships, like, that's ridiculous. Like, is that much the disparity of talent between America and the rest of the league, that there's no one that could have stopped them from either going back-to-back or this season not achieving the three-peat? And you look at their team, and they have a vision of their long-term plan, or at least short-term to mid-term, and potentially long term because they're a team that's always going to buy players. It's been proven historically, 16 championships, next to the next person, which is Chivas with 12, and then Toluca with 10. That's a big gap, right? And then you talk about Monterrey spending money on their players, potentially again reemphasizing the players that they're linked to. Cruz Azul having really good seasons and potentially buying, and then there's us, stuck with the Linus. If you're gonna keep Linus, turn him into a left back because he offensively he provides nothing for you, right? If you're gonna keep Uriel Antuna, then change the way that you play and make him work in your system after you played almost $7 million for him because you wanted another winger to come and replace Quinones. Fix your system and figure out a way to include him in your system to try to get him into better positions and maybe get a shadow of what the 9 goals that he scored when he became scoring champ 2 seasons ago, right? Figure out a way to include Marcelo Flores, who had a great production under Siboldi. Osiel Herrera, who you bought as an upside, with a ton of potential and who produces in terms of stats and his minutes, the amount of minutes that he's played with goals. If you're not going to buy players, figure out a way to change and maybe, accept that this guy was not the right move and figure out a way to either tank the season or should have parted ways after the season, like we all believed, and everybody in there, who has an intelligent mind would have said, hey, it's time to go, Panovich. Thank you. We messed up. You don't fit here. There's no identity with you. Our fan base doesn't connect with you. Your players don't really connect with you. You're kicking our players out with some of the decision makings and terrible management aspects that you're handling, the young and older players. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you for your time. We'll pay you. It's like we can't even afford to buy a coach out. We can't afford to buy a player out who sat 6 months not playing and could potentially sit another 6 months not playing because you're not willing to buy him out and say it was a bad business deal. We got one good season out of him, maybe 2 good seasons out of him. Thank you so much. We can't keep up with your wages. Here's your buyout. Let's go get another foreign player and shoot for, a potential star once again. It's not that difficult. It is really not that difficult. Cemex is a company that is large enough to forfeit some financial, losses in order to make the team better. And that's why I say there's no other reason besides financial.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely just kind of turned into, as we mentioned, lack of strategy. Why are we spending $7 million on Antuna? That was bad business, and I don't think he was the best available. I think you were better off getting some random kid from Pachuca.
No, they bet. They were rolling the dice on him. They were hoping to get some good version out of him, and he was Mexican because, you were playing with the rules. But yeah, you're right. It was bad business. I mean, what? We had 1 assist, 2 assists the entire season for us? No goals?
If that.
I think he had 1 assist for sure. He had that cross. I remember that cross off the left side. But he might have had 2. I don't know. Again, I just don't see the plan. I don't see a short term, a midterm, or a long term plan. And again, these are also consequences of all the coaching changes that we had. Right? You brought in Diego Coca to build a future and lasted 5 games. Got rid of Florian, who a lot of people obviously wish that didn't happen. Brought in Nico Ibanez to play alongside Gignac in a system where he was going to, implement. So now you're stuck with Ibanez. You let go of Florian and you got stuck with Yente Lopez, who eventually you sold immediately after. He leaves, you get Chima Ruiz. The team doesn't do well. You bring Siboldi to save, the ship. He does it, and then you create this fallacy of, story that he did something wrong, and he sold us out to his arch nemesis, when he was a player that understands what it means to play for us and went down to the second division and stuck it out? Why would he sell us out? So then you're stuck with somebody, with the coach that you beat in that final, when we were able to manage through with this coach leading us and the players, and it just didn't work. Like, I just feel like for what we've done in the last decade, and more specifically from 2015 to 2020 or 21 with the Club World Cup happened, I just feel very disappointed in the lack of ownership and accountability to understand that you made some bad decisions, and in order to correct those decisions, you have to cut your losses. I just didn't think that I was going to come at this point with all the growth that we've had over the last 8 years or so to be stuck in a situation where we have to write it out as a fan base and write it out with our players, with our older players still being the best players. So hopefully we make a magical run and get some lucky matchups in the Liguilla that favors us to potentially be in a final again.
Yeah, that's the only way.
I
Bro,
think looking at this administration from the club, there's a greater sense of planification when it comes to growing the brand in terms of commercializing it rather than delivering the results that the fans expect and want. Why is it that it seems that our merch is better planned out than it has ever been, but we don't have like a accurate play style, like you said, like a short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan for the direction of the club?
but hey, we're on TV Azteca's 100 Mexicanos Dijeron equivalent. That's brand, right? Like that's that. I mean, I love that we made the move to TV Azteca and we're the club, we're the face of the network. But that's what the push is, and that's why you worded it perfectly, Edgar. I think that, other areas that they're focusing on are not the areas that we, the fan base, truly care about, which is winning titles.
And like another thing that I noticed too, like you look at the promotions for the new kits that just dropped. There's no Guignac, there's no Guido Pizarro, there's no Nahuel, but you have like our more influencer players, the Flores siblings, Ociel, modeling the Lainez as well.
Yeah, people that do well on social media.
Surprisingly, no Pisuto.
Yeah, no Pizzuto, which I was like deeply offended, and I know our good friend David Molina was as well. Really hurt by that move.
Bro, we didn't include captain of the U23 final team that lost to Atlético San Luis superstar.
No,
That's
he got
wild behavior. David Molina, you should riot and send an email. Shout out to him in the Valley, 956.
But sober.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. I think that, truthfully, I don't know. What do you guys think on paper? Where would we rank as a Liga MX team?
As of right now?
Yeah, right now.
On paper, we should be probably a top 5 team. But realistically, from what we saw this last season, no, we're a mid-table team. Because if it wasn't for a lot of the times individuality saving Pauno's ass, I mean, we shouldn't have gotten as many points as we got.
So we got America clear number 1. I think the toss-up of the two goes to Cruz Azul or Rayados. Yeah, I would say Cruz Azul, just because they got America in the semis, and then Rayados because, I mean, truthfully, Rayados was not a good opponent for America in the final. So you got Rayados and Toluca, so that's 4. Pachuca could be, but I think that's where, it kind of gets a little hazy because then Atlético San Luis had a good run in terms of coaching. But, did they have a really, were they the better team when we had so many chances created that we couldn't put away 1, 2? So I think that's kind of where there's the top four, I think, and then after that, there's a separation from the top four. And I think that's where you can maybe slide a Pachuca, us, even a good team that, like you mentioned, Cholos was coached really well by Profesorio, looking like Alex Ferguson in one. I think I saw a comparison, and then looking like Profe Cruz in the other leg.
Profe Cruz.
So that was a great one. Shout out to whoever created that. That was a great tweet.
Was so good.
But that top four team alone that we're talking about, those clubs, again, they're looking to be better, and yet you look at the squad again, and you have the old players, and after the old players, you have Brunetta, who probably stands out, outside of those guys, and then Nando, obviously.
Cordova.
I mean, yeah, bro, but I mean,
trying to push out now.
It's like, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and Edgar touched upon it today when, he was discussing it with Peter and a couple of people on our group thread today about, he needs to be the best player on the team. Like, that's the potential that he was sold as, right? Like the upside, leaving America and being on the Olympic squad and coming over to us and then eventually leading us to that championship. But I mean, he's on and off. Like you get.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here with Cordova. I mean, earlier you were mentioning Antuna and saying how, oh, well, we paid this much money for him. At least we should build a team around him and help him be the guy. Why not do that for Cordova, who already stood up and took our team to a championship? Like, I just feel like
coaches.
Probably upset that he came in from the back door of America. He probably was not even paid that well, and then he sees Antuna come in and is earning 2 or 3 times as much as him. I would be upset as well. Like, so if we're gonna have conversations about somebody who to build a team around, it should be Cordova, not Antuna.
Yeah, and I don't think I was trying to make it sound like we need to build around Antuna. I think it's more like you're stuck with him.
You're talking about accommodating him.
I mean, because this man has been with 3 different coaches, and in 8 games, he looked like he was the best player. And since then, he has not. Like, I love the player and the talent that he has, but 1 coach, I'll pass. 2 coach, okay, like, different aspects you might be like. 3 coaches, something's going on with the player as well.
Like
you're telling me 3 coaches,
the best paid player on the team.
But you're telling me 3 coaches have made the mistake that this guy is not the talent that he's supposed to be.
No, he is. But what I'm saying is, no, I completely agree that he's not, playing up to his potential consistently. But I think that, this aspect around him, around the fact that, there's other players that are worth crap that are earning more than him. And maybe even Brunetta came in as well. And just because he was a foreigner, he's earning more than him.
Yeah, but that's also
same age, same talent level.
That's on him, though, because I mean, you can dislike Antuna as much as you dislike him, but at the national team level, he was one of the better players. At Cruz Azul, he was one of their best players and won a scoring title. Like, they have earned their contracts based on what they accomplish, and Cordova's only accomplishment has been leading us the title, which is an awesome accomplishment. But he was already signed for a contract prior to that. Like, it wasn't like he signed after that. He was here for a couple of seasons.
Some other team come and take him and pay him what we should be paying him for him to show up. Like, we should be paying our own players. It's like if you're in a company, right? And you have employees that are the best employees, you should be paying them instead of going out and getting some unknown just because they were good at a different company and paying them more than what your good employees are. I mean,
yeah, I can see where you're going, but I just don't think he's demonstrated enough to be like, hey, let's make you the highest paying player. You had 8 great games. which got us the championship. He won in a run. What's happened since then? 5 good games maybe this season, and 5 good games last season.
Yeah, can you count more from Brunetta?
Probably not. Probably equally. But
Okay.
two
Can you count more
seasons.
from Ibanez?
2 seasons though. Two
Can you
seasons.
count more from Ibanez?
2 seasons. Hold up though. 2 seasons, and the first season he was the best player on the team. Statistically, he was the best player on the team. 2023, there was not a better player in the entire league than Francisco Brunetta. Can we say the same thing about Cordova? He's been around since 2021, bro. Right? That's when Pio Herrera came over.
Let's agree to disagree.
I'm just saying, like, if he can't, like, if he doesn't become what he is supposed to be, then, like, we're shit out of luck because it's like we're gonna ride the championship and, like, yeah, fantastic. He won us a championship, but so did other players.
All I'm saying is if we let him go, you guys are gonna see that he's gonna be, well, obviously better paid somewhere else. That's why he's leaving, right? But he's gonna be the player that we all know he could be somewhere else, and we're gonna regret it.
And yeah, but I'm sure that America. You think America felt that way when he left, and then he got us the 8th championship.
My thing is, how do we fix that besides throwing money at him? Because, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe my philosophy is a little bit different on that. Like, you got to earn it. You got to earn it with your contract renewal.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about Antuna earned his money through the selección. He earned his money through a championship at Tigres. I don't care about selección.
Yeah, I think you're emphasizing too much on the Antuna aspect.
Well, I mean, that's just one. That's the biggest example, but there's other players.
Right? Yeah.
I get where you're coming from because Antuna is the second highest paid player on the team immediately when you have guys that have been here forever, like why is Nahuel and Guido and Javier not the highest paid players behind?
Because they were at some point. They were at some point.
But they're like even further down the list at this point. I mean, I think
yeah,
was
but
4th and 5th too.
They wouldn't be with us if they wanted to make it all about money because rightfully so, as they age, you can't pay them the highest contracts.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
They rolled the dice on Antuna. It didn't work out.
We wouldn't want him to be asking more money at 35. He's not 35. He's
same thing with Samir. Like he was coming from the Premiership or the Premier League. He's got one of the higher wages on the team. You roll the dice. He was young when you were bringing him in. He had some potential, and you were hoping that in an inferior league he was going to stand out. He didn't. All I'm saying is that like it's now or never for Cordova because that upside and that potential that he had, he demonstrated with stints at Club America. That's why they gave him the number 10 jersey. He leaves. Wins us that championship, and I just don't. I can't imagine America fans like, oh man, we let Cordova go. Like, shoot, like he was going to turn out to be this player, and then you see him. What has happened? It's like okay, like he didn't really pan out to be the best player that we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, because they're tricampeones now. But
correct.
Take away those championships, and before then, yeah, they were saying that about Cordova.
Yeah, but then he didn't show. That's what I'm saying. And I don't want to emphasize too much on him because, again, there's more players that haven't owned up to the potential that they could be. But I think that he clearly had a separation over Alainez, over Osiel Herrera, because he demonstrated with performances leading up to that championship run. And then having that championship run under his belt, you would have thought that he would have turned into the best player of our team, and he did not.
All right. So to end the topic, I'm gonna put it up for poll. At this moment, if tomorrow America or somebody else comes in and pays for Cordova, you let him go?
For the right price, yeah, why not?
Okay. Edgar?
For the right replacement would be my response. Because I mean, we could sell him for 1 million or 10 million, but what are you bringing back to Tigres? Like what is going to be, because obviously, I mean, I feel like he's not giving us 110%. So are you going to bring me a player who is, or are you going to go get me some random player from Querétaro or some random player from Puebla?
Yeah, I guess.
I wouldn't entertain it if it's not 10 million. I mean, look at some of the figures that are being thrown around for players on our league.
But is he worth 10 million though?
I think so.
Is
Absolutely.
Antuna worth 8?
Is Chiquete Orozco worth 11? No.
None of these Mexican players are, guys. None of these guys are. Like the reality
So why
is that's not
sell Cordoba for less than that?
Yeah. We're feeding into the inflated market.
correct. But I don't think I think I'm sticking with like what Edgar said. I don't think I would sell him because he's a Mexican player. He doesn't take away a foreign spot, so he can ride the bench if he doesn't mentally get the idea that he has to step up and ride the potential that he has at his feet. And so he doesn't take away. He's got 1 year left on his contract. If he wants to bum it out and be a bench player, like fantastic. Like you can play Osil Herrera and ride out the inconsistencies, or Uriel Antuna and ride out.
Oh, he just died. I get.
I want to go back to what Edgar was saying about his percentage. You know, like he's not giving us 100%. What percent is he giving us? 60, 70?
I mean, if you look at like, if we're gonna say his peak performance was the Liguilla run in the title against Chivas, if we're gonna call that his peak performance, I would say we're getting maybe 60 to 70% of that right now.
Okay, and at 60 to 70%, he's still better player than Lainez, than Ociel, than Marcelo. Sometimes even on good nights, than Bruneta.
Then Lainez, like yeah.
So even at 60%, I mean, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about letting go a player instead of thinking, oh, what do we need to do in order to get this player who can play at 100% to play at 100% and stay with us and give us that.
Well, and the other thing,
whether it's money, whether it's coaching, whether it's, you know, giving him a different girlfriend, I don't care. You know, just like, what are we talking about? We'd rather let go of a player that's better than all of our other players' options that we have because he's not giving us 100% than actually trying to get him to give us 100%.
I mean, I'm with you. I would absolutely prefer we try to get him to at 100%. There's a bunch of other players that need to leave before he does. I mean, he's definitely going to give you more than Vigon is. He's definitely going to give you, like you mentioned, more than Lainez is. That's why for me too, like if he's going to leave, you have to bring me something better. That's the only way. Like you're not going to get me some, oh, you know, this 23-year-old kid from any other Liga MX team. Like,
El Piquete Guzman or something like that.
Yeah, like that's not going to convince me. Even if we get 10 million for Cordoba, like that doesn't help.
And really, think about it from his perspective, as Arnoldo is like about to hop in here in a sec. What other big team does he fit on right now, realistically speaking? He doesn't fit in America because they already have 2 number 10s in Valdez and Chiquito Sanchez. And they have a million other players. He doesn't fit there, in my opinion. I don't think he fits at Cruz Azul. Why would they need him? Does he fit at Toluca? Probably not with how Alexis Vega has been playing. Probably not. And he obviously doesn't fit at the Penguins. And why would he even go there anyway? So, like, he would, if he's going to move within the league, it's going to be a downgrade as far as, like, from a team perspective. So does he even want that? And the other thing, too, is that we have to remember, yes, he didn't have the best season, but also part of the frustration with him isn't necessarily his fault. This dumb coach wouldn't play him and Bruneta together until the last
Bro, but no, there's been 3 coaches. That's like, you can't, like, even if we had this terrible coach, there's been other coaches. You're telling me that everybody who's had a career made out of this and had success and along where they've gone just doesn't outright don't know anything and don't see what's going on in practice. Like, again, he's a really good player when he wants to and when he's all in. And I get what you're saying, Alfred, like getting rid of him, it's not the best solution. And I don't think that was my intention to say. I think he just needs to step up because the expectation, if we're gonna hold him to like we don't want to let him go because that 60-70% that you're saying is what he could be better than the guys that we have, then the expectation should be higher that he needs to be the better player. And if we're gonna tie inconsistencies to just Paunovic, and before that to Siboldi not fully taking that leadership and being the number one starter at all times, and before that with all the other coaches, even with Piojo Herrera who brought him on, like there's also an aspect that he's gonna have to own up to. And that's my thing. I don't want to get rid of him. I think he could be an excellent bench player if he wants to be the 60-70% that he has been in terms of what he's given us. Because you can't find another player that can give you what he brings off at that rate off the bench. But I don't think he's a bench player. I think he's a starter. And if you're not going to take Brunetta's spot, which you could probably take and put that on the coach to decide, hey, one of you two, it's going to the bench because you're the better player or you're not the better player. And I think that because one's a foreign player, he might have the upper hand because of how much we paid for him. But I think form-wise, I don't think one takes away from the other. With all playing at their best, I think Cordova is up to the par of Brunetta if he wants to. But that's the thing. He hasn't. And I think the expectation should be set. Because if not, then he's just another Linus. He's just another guy that's like, we're not really honoring him in the sense of he could be that good player.
Going back to your topic about America and how good, they've done things. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they don't have wingers. They've literally played with nothing but offensive midfielders. In Cendejas, in Valdez, I forget what this other player they have there. And they're just rotating them around. And they're just, they have a striker and then a whole bunch of midfielders. No wingers.
I'd argue Brian is. He's probably their only true winger, but he didn't play.
Okay, but different from us, we have like 8 wingers. So what are we doing? Like, is wingers the solution? Because like if we're talking about, hey, let's mimic what America's doing. America stacked up with offensive midfielders, and they have them riding the bench. They had Valdez riding the bench. So why can't we have Cordova riding the bench? If we're talking about wanting depth, I would rather have Cordova as a depth player than looking at the bench and seeing Lainez, looking at the bench and seeing Vigon.
The problem is that we don't have no depth, and he has to be one of our better players, and he hasn't been one of our better players.
And maybe that's what he needs too. Maybe he needs competition.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to we're just not that good. And I think it's just a cruel reality to face. And, our biases towards certain players or the way that we believe the team should be, gets in the way. But we're just not good. You talk about they don't have any wingers, but they have an excellent coach who traditionally played with 4 in the back, and then out of nowhere busts out 3 in the back, and then is able to include, a Ramon Juarez who's young, an Israel Reyes who's been an up-and-coming player now and an important player for them, and make them, play the way that they want to play. A Chicote Calderon who, wasn't, very much top of the league, but he's respectfully playing for Club America. But ultimately, I don't think we're just that good. And, there was a trend in that, right? Like we went to the final, we went to another final, but that last season that we had with Siboldi was in great form. And I think now we're just riding out that wave along on top of bad coaching that it just puts us in a bad place.
Yep.
Because that last season of Siboldi wasn't great. It was, I would even argue that it wasn't very good either.
Nope.
His management was more in question with some of the substitutions that he did excellent at the beginning of his first season and the second season. But I think it was also form, right? I think the players lost form, and I think that we were seeing finally, and what we're at now, the players who weren't really going to demonstrate what we expected them to be finally show out this season with those inconsistencies. And so I think it's just a bad place where you look at it from all aspects, that we're just in a bad place and we need a tune-up, like a major tune-up. And I think we're stuck. Because you have these guys exiting the team, like Edgar talks about in his outline. It's been basically nothing short of like 100% that Guido Pizarro is not going to renew. Carioca is not going to renew, obviously. Gignac is not going to renew. And, like, why would they? Like, why would they renew? Obviously, the age factor. But why would they renew to a plan or a vision that they don't even know what's going to happen? It's the most uncertain time it's been since they've been at the club. Like, I don't know if they're smart players. Like, they're successful people. Why would they, string along for something that potentially could get bad?
The wheels are falling off.
Yeah. I don't blame them, like, for not re-signing. But we're stuck for another 6 months. And whoever you bring in, whatever type of caliber, it's not going to, it's just going to put a Band-Aid on the bigger issue. The major changes have to come until June. And so it's like, what is the board going to do? Because they can mess it up. They have to get it right from whoever they sign. But you got to offload Samir, and you've had now a month to offload, or close to a month, and you haven't been able to. And then that leaves that.
No, you've had more than you've had 6 months, 7 months.
And then you have that Quiñones spot that opened up. So you would have potentially 2 foreign spots that would open up, and you have to get it right. Like, there's no room for failure, because your team is at a point where it's been proven that these guys are not capable of taking that, baton from the older guys to be the best players on the team.
Anybody want to go tell Sebastian all that we just said in San Antonio? Because he definitely just posted a picture of him pumping up a truck at a gas station.
Nice. So, hopefully he stops at Buc-ee's and changes his life.
Well, he's at Circle K, so I don't know if he'll make a Buc-ee stop, at least for gas.
So even he's getting that wrong. Why is he not stopping at Buc-ee's, even San Antonio? Jesus, man.
He's missing out on the barbecue.
Well, I could think about 10 other spots better barbecue than Buc-ee's, but definitely got to experience Buc-ee's in general, though. Can't stop at a Circle K when you have Buc-ee's down the street.
True.
Yep.
Anyways, well, those guys are not renewing, guys, and that's obviously something that we have to face, and I just don't really know what the plan is for that. I think we just write it out. Hopefully they come back and help us out, because now it's like, hold on, are they really going to make Gignac the sporting director? Like, are they going to really like tie in Nahuel and Guido Pizarro to be the future coaches of Tigres? I don't look like that's where we're headed.
If I'm Guido, I'm going back home to Argentina for a little bit.
Which he's probably going to. He was at a Boca game like a couple days ago.
Yeah, I bet you he goes back home. I bet you Gignac goes back home to France for a little bit.
I think he's got another year or 2 in the MLS, bro. It's the perfect retirement plan. You work up that 401k for 2 years with that salary, and you get to hang out by the beach, whether that's in, Miami or LA. There's possibilities are endless for Gignac and the MLS. You ride the wave of everything you accomplish in the Mexican League. It's an easy transition for the English media to talk about you and like figure out a way to start a business and an LLC in the States. Like, the dude is looking beyond.
We can bring him to Houston and just tell him that Pensacola is 2 hours away.
You and Threeger have the same wavelength.
If Dennis, this might be more of a question for you, but obviously, guys, feel free to chime in just in talking about like markets in the States. If you had a place for him to land in the MLS, what do you think that would be?
Okay, realistically speaking, he's not going to go to Miami.
No.
They have Suarez. They also have Campana still, so he's not going to go there. He doesn't make any sense in Orlando at all. Maybe he backs up or starts at LA Galaxy. Then
No,
maybe
bro, anywhere he goes, he starts. He's not right on the bench. Not for what you're gonna pay him. You're making him a DP.
LAFC won't do it because they already have DPs.
Giroud, but
Yeah, and like it would be fun to see them together, like on the same team, but I just don't see that happening.
New York?
No. That
Which
would be
one?
bad. Neither. I mean, does he want to play at Citi Field and Yankee Stadium every 2
Probably
weeks? No, absolutely not.
If we're being a football romantic, I would want him in Columbus. Just at that stadium, the vibe, the colors. I think he would dig that. But if we're being realistic, he's going into retirement. He probably just wants the lights and have a good city to go check out spots. I don't know. Does Chicago still have a team? Not even sure.
Oh no, don't go to Chicago. Don't go to Chicago, bro. Like,
Yo, you
bro.
don't think the Galaxy are a team for him?
I
They
do
are,
to a
but-
degree.
I think that would probably be the only team that I can see him like riding the bench if he wasn't offered a starting spot. And just
Because
they
I
got
don't know if he would start over their striker right now, Joe.
yeah. But
Although if you put him next to their wingers and Peck and Paintsel, he'd score 20 goals next
I'm
year.
just thinking, we know Gignac, man. He likes to be in the spotlight. LA.
That to me makes the most sense. The other team that
My
I thought
guy-
of was Seattle, but like, does he want his knees to get shot on turf after 2 weeks?
Or
No.
San Diego.
San Diego.
Bro, that team is trash.
Mazatlán, number 2.
Bro, our team is trash. Dennis, what are you talking about?
No, but they literally have Chucky Lozano and Scrubs. We don't have Scrubs on our roster. Let's be real. Like,
we have Linus on our roster. That's a
Come on,
scrub.
We have Antuna.
That's another
Okay.
scrub.
but we also have Guido. We have Javi. We have Nahuel. We have Brunetta. We have Sebastian. We have Ozzy. Are any of those guys scrubs? No. Joaquim. No, he's not a scrub. Angulo's not a scrub. San Diego, they literally have children and Chucky.
Yeah, but my man's not worried about winning. He's trying to ride, wave runners, and instead of riding them in La Presa La Boca, he's gonna be riding them in San Diego or LA.
Yeah. He should go to LA. Of all the teams, he should go to LA. The Galaxy.
Yeah, LA Galaxy makes the most sense, like on paper, just because his friends are there. Dennis. He's got Giroud, who's his best friend, if I'm not mistaken.
Lloris is there.
Lloris.
French mafia over there.
Yeah,
Well,
dude.
that's-
It's
yeah,
just
that's
LA.
LA. Yeah.
It's LA. He'll live in the hills. He'll get that salary. Like I said, his brand will continue to be good off the field. I'm sure he's got partnerships all over the place. He can start a foundation. Reduce his taxes in California. I mean, he's got the script. Bro, no, I don't want him in Houston. I do not want to go see him at a Dynamo game and suffer and be on. Like, if he's gonna go suffer, he can go suffer like at another team, whether that's Orlando, Nashville, not here. I'm not putting him through the Houston Dynamo organization.
Bro, he would melt from the heat that he'd be playing in every week.
I wouldn't want him on any Texas team.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, to be honest.
That would be kind of cool to go see him. Actually, I would prefer he played for Dallas and not Houston.
It makes a lot more sense.
Hey, Austin. Oh, yo,
I was gonna
Austin.
say Austin makes way more sense than Dallas does.
Yes,
Like Travis?
Dallas, and I hate to say that. Don't let Lou hear me have said those words.
Lou, I can't believe we gotta ask Lou about this. He's got to have some sort of insight or somebody that he knows. Austin might be in the works. That's a good destination. You get the fans for Tigres to reminiscence on the team that we once were that we're probably not going to touch again until our directiva leaves.
And he would be the star.
Yeah, and then it's the most it's the closest city to what LA is in Texas. People included.
No beach though. But you got
You
the
got
lake.
like Travis.
You gotta like Travis. Okay, here's a question. Regardless of what MLS team he would go to, hypothetically speaking, would you buy the jersey, his jersey? of that team?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Again, Dennis, I wouldn't have met none of you or the people that are watching this and had this opportunity for this podcast if Gignac did never come to Tigres. Gignac is the man can score 5 goals this upcoming season, and he's still going to be our best player. I had this conversation with my uncle, and I love my uncle. He's such a great guy. He's a fantastic person, human being. But when it comes to watching Tigres, he can be very pessimistic because, you know, he got used to what we all got used to, is all that success. But obviously, he also saw, you know, the bad times when he was younger. But he's like, if I was him, like I wouldn't be playing him. I was like, dude, he scores 7 goals. Like, why would he step to the side? Like, he's still. I was like, in 2024, like there's only like 3 other players that score more goals than him, and that was Henry Martin, Berterame, and Sergio Canales. And they're all younger than him. Like, why would he retire? Like, what makes you think that? It's like, this guy is intelligent enough and is successful enough to know, like, hey, I got to stop when I got to stop. But he was able to score 7 goals for the season. Like, who else are we going to? We're going to let Nico Ibanez start, and, like, hopefully he gets that. You know, it's like we look better with Gignac on the field, and that's a fact. Like, every day and twice on Sunday.
Yep.
So, yeah, you got to buy his jersey. And I expect every fan to buy his jersey that lives in the States if he's playing for Austin, the Galaxy, or Nashville, or Columbus, wherever Alfred wants him to go.
Nashville, yeah.
That might be a good spot.
You would love that being in Nashville, bro.
But you think his personality would match there?
I don't know, bro, but
dude goes to the club and doesn't drink.
So he sounds like me for real, except I don't go to the club.
Oh my God. Okay, enough of this Gignac and the MLS. Okay, so he's not coming back, rightfully so. What else? Transfer news. Double O Nation. Tell me about these guys we're going after.
Oh no, I forgot both their names.
Supposedly.
Who cares? Player A and Player B.
Player A, bench player from Botafogo, center defensive mid, who's rumored to have a pre-contract with Tigres. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's for Apertura or Clausura, but that's kind of been the closer one. And then I think the second name was Alan Franco.
Yeah, from another Brazilian team.
Yeah,
what's the other
Mineiro?
team?
No.
Yeah, Mineiro, where Edu Vargas plays. I'm gonna kick that off to you, Alfred. Do we benefit from this player coming on now versus 6 months and taking more of a time to actually find and prospect and like vet the player that we require, since you have Carioca for 6 months? And I mean, even if you bring one player, is one player really going to be the significant change in us getting better at that position? What do you think?
And it's just tough because it's a coin toss. I mean, we brought in Joaquin. We didn't even know who he was. You know, there was a lot of negative expectations around him because he was coming from a B team in the Brazilian league, and he's a freaking star over here. So, if we're optimistic, same thing happens with one of these 2 prospects who we might not know much of, and they might kill it over here. Realistically, though, if they're not, we're talking about, we want to make sure that we're getting difference makers, and we want to make sure we're getting, proven players. If they're going to take up a foreign spot, these are not it. Because if they would have been, proven, well-known players, then we would know who they are.
Danilo Barbosa.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a coin toss. But at this moment, do we want another coin toss? Do we want to be stuck with another player like Samir, and that we're not going to be able to sell down the line, is going to be taking up a foreign spot?
If you had to roll the dice on red or black, being these 2 players that are being rumored, who we taking? The Ecuadorian or the Brazilian?
Like, I'm being honest, guys. I'm being honest.
Well,
like,
that's why
if we're not going for De Osa, if we're not going for somebody from Europe, then I'll stay with Carioca.
And that's why I posed the question, because it's like, if you have him for 6 months, how much better is this player out of these two going to be than what you have for another 6 months, and actually take that time to fully prospect who is going to take over this position for the long term?
Well, it doesn't matter. We're getting Aldo Rocha apparently, so.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. You baboon. Why would you include this man in our pod? Oh my God. Why are we going after that player?
You said rumors. That is the most heated rumor of all of them, somehow, some way.
Bro, we deserve to I'm sorry. You
already cussed. It's fine.
Yes. We absolutely fucking deserve to not make another final with Aldo Rocha coming on board. What the fuck are we doing?
No diss on him. I mean, he can come, but if we're paying $1 million for him and for him to ride the bench, not us dishing out 10 million and expecting him to be the solution, because he's not going to be the solution.
That's like a downgrade from Vigon at this point.
I don't know about all
I feel like Vigon. I feel like they're equal. Vigon just provides the offensive aspect, and Aldo Rocha would provide the defensive aspect.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, it just, as long as we're not dishing out a ton of money, he's a Mexican player. He can come ride the bench. You know, he can be depth, but he's not the solution we should be looking for at center defensive mid.
Absolute garbage, and not necessarily on him, but more of the fact that we're going after him.
But I mean, if they're looking at accomplishments in other teams like they did with Antuna, they might just pay it.
Yeah, got a point there for sure. So we rolling the dice. Who we taking, Dennis, Edgar? If don't rolling the dice on red or black, Alan Franco or Danilo Barbosa?
I think Barbosa's a little bit more an experienced player, just based on his curriculum. But as far as like to replace Carioca, they aren't the best options in my humble opinion.
What makes it tough is that they were both at good teams and trophy winners to add on. Dennis, who are you taking? The Ecuadorian or the Brazilian?
I don't know. I mean, I'll say Franco to be different, I guess. He's also the one that's been mentioned by Peyo. I don't think Barbosa has been mentioned by Peyo, so
Franco's also the one that starts versus Barbosa comes off the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd rather have that, to be honest.
But you gotta get it right.
Should have been De Osa, bro. 6.5 million. That's nothing.
Yeah, but apparently, you know, our board watches games blind. That's why they probably kept Paunovic, because they didn't realize how bad we looked, and they didn't realize
6.5 million De Osa is what he's worth.
That's how much
Rayo's paying.
Okay, but he's not Antuna, bro. He's he doesn't have a curriculum in the selección, so can't pay that.
We just turn a blind eye.
It drives me nuts. Should we talk about potential departures? Because the only ones that Peyo said, what was it, last week? Reyes and Ibanez?
Reyes and Ibanez.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
I'm kind of surprised about the Reyes one, to be honest with you.
How?
I mean, I get that he would want to like start somewhere, probably in the league, but
he could probably start at like 10 different teams.
He's not a bad depth piece for us. I mean, he's definitely not the best, but
I agree with you.
We're already thin at that spot, unless you want to convert Angulo into a center back like I've been preaching for the last year, which that's not going to happen.
Yeah, my problem with Reyes leaving is that the depth, because if he leaves, then we're left with Purata and Tercero.
And that one kid who's probably not going to play for another 9 months because he.
Oh, we bought him.
And Osby.
We are doomed. We are asking for Diego Reyes to stay. to have good depth. We deserve what we have, brother. We deserve what we have because Tercero and Purata to back up Guido Pizarro, who's not a
And Joaquin. Yeah.
non-denominal center back, is
Just keep Samir
outlandish.
at this point, then.
Oh my god.
Bro, I don't know if we're gonna buy
Sure.
Tapia. That's a great question. I mean, who knows at this point? Probably not. But America would probably just try to take him back.
Take him back.
Yeah, and why would you not? We did that forever. Like Alfred said, we set the formula how to win in the short term in immediate success. We buy them, and they have the right to buy them back at 1.5 million is the clause. You buy them and then let them ride the bench. You don't care about the national team. You got the starting national team keeper at 27. Who cares?
And you take away the future goalkeeper from Tigres.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why that dumb rumor of Mier popped up last week too.
I really doubt that was actually true because he was really good for Cruz Azul.
Yeah,
They're not letting him go.
No, absolutely not. I think he's easily top 3 goalkeeper in the league. And I don't think you sell it a direct rival. That's just we set the formula. We showed teams in the last 10 years how to win.
Is this karma coming back to haunt us? Is that what we're like realizing?
Yeah, it's karma from what they did to Siboldi.
Yeah, that too.
It is, bro.
Yep.
It's just a cycle, I guess. What else?
The thing that we face as fans of the club is that these other teams, and meaning maybe just America, but I want to even acknowledge Pachuca here. I want to acknowledge, I mean, maybe not so much Cruz Azul because it took them a long time, but I would say mainly Pachuca and America. They were able to see their team go through that bad time and still come back and be successful. We haven't faced that. At least since I've been a fan. I haven't faced, the going down to the second division, yeah, great, but we didn't win championships until 2011. And then, we were there. 2015 is what got us going, but we really haven't seen the after. And so that is what the uncertain part for me, that it's like, what is actually going to set the future straight for us, even if it's not what we had, because I don't think it's going to be repeated. It's going to be tough to be repeated. You need a lot of right pieces, a lot of right moves, a lot of right people in play, and a lot of money.
I would bring back Mag.
Yeah. That's always a good statement. It ended pretty bad. And again, we don't even know why it ended pretty bad, but it was something that apparently he was making money off of players.
Well, yeah, but
Puka.
we're working. I mean, these guys, Torrado made money off of Antuna, I'm sure. So.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And the other kid
on the back end deal. Oh yeah, on the back end.
And on the other Cruz Azul kid, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone does it.
Hear me out. Things go to crap in the first 5-6 weeks of the season. We fire everybody. One last ride with Tuca. One last ride with Mag.
No thanks. Miguel Angel Garza could be something different, but
not Tuca.
Nah, dude. It made me think about the three-peat, and people blame Santander, but that was all on Tuca, bro.
They keep calling him out in the show on his decisions at Tigres. They've called him out on all the CONCACAF championships wasted. Just recently, I shared the lineup that we had against this Nicaraguan team that we're gonna Real Estelí. The lineup that we had back then was because Tuca took them. We had Taufik Guarch playing. What
my guy.
So they keep on calling him out on all his bullshit, and he just laughs. They just called him out on why that lineup at the final of the Libertadores, why he didn't include the run.
Yeah,
and he just laughed. Like he doesn't care. Like he made his money. He did what he did at Tigres. He gave us championship, but he also made a bunch of bad decisions.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Mundo said, during our best years, we could have had a lot more.
How many finals did we lose with him? 4?
3 or 4.
Three, I think.
3 Conca finals.
3
Oh well,
Concas.
are we including
I'm including
Conca?
Conca. We should
America,
have won. We should have won all 4 of those. Let's
we
keep
lost.
it.
We lost to America in 14. That was
Uh-huh.
bad management after taking a 1-0 lead.
We lost in 16 to Chivas.
And then what else?
That's it. No, so just 2.
So just 2 league finals. However,
And-
we should have
And 3
won a couple-
CONCACAF. And then
and 3
Libertadores.
and Libertadores, and we honestly should have made a couple more finals in the league, like 2012
2012 against
2012.
when we
Santos.
gave up. Yeah, Santos. We
Yep.
gave up 2-0 lead.
Yep, should have won
We had
that.
Lucas Lobos.
Yep,
That-
we
that-
should have won that.
That should have been the first final regia.
Yeah, we could have won all 4 of those Conca finals.
Yeah,
too.
no, but that Chivas, bro, you look at that Chivas roster in 2017 and look at our roster. Like, I remember I was a high school teacher at the time and I was coaching soccer, and like, there's a lot of, Tigres are still up in the up and coming. So, there's a lot of kids that went for Chivas, but I was very proud always of being Tigres fan. So, I talk my shit always, especially during those couple of runs, 2 years already. 2015, Gignac was already killing it. 2016, we beat America in the finals, and that 2017 rolls around, and I was super confident. There was no way in my head that we were going to lose with the players and the team that we had to a team that their best player was what? I mean, Alan Pulido.
If
The
that,
best, was that the best player?
And the clown Pizarro.
And Pizarro. And you lose the final because Lucas Elarrayan was your best player all Liguilla, and then you suddenly decide to not start him, and then you don't play Edu Vargas at home. Yeah, it's easy to blame Santander, but I mean that penalty doesn't that penalty doesn't give us the lead. Like, that gives us the tie, and who knows what could have happened after that. I mean, yeah, could we have won it? Absolutely, but you lost that game from the manager's aspect. Like, it took one amazing Gignac goal to put it into the game, into the final, to tie it. And that goal is very underrated in his goals as far as, skill wise that he's ever scored for us. Incredible, incredible. What we got, Edgar? I know this is a short timeline, but we're close to an hour and a half here. Shout out to everybody tuning in with our team being a scrub team, and no off-season rumors.
Yeah, shout out y'all for joining in on all the
Just
riffing.
hearing us rant and fight with each other.
Yeah, all the riffing.
Yeah, give us some feedback. See where you see. Give us the Facebook rumors that you guys come across.
the David Molina rumors.
Oh,
Guys, don't believe everything you see on social media. There's only 4 guys that are credible for Tigres, and one of them has slacked off, but that's on purpose because we left his network. But
Bro, I thought you were gonna say there's only 4 guys and it's us.
I wish.
Jorge Rosales, Gary Martinez, I think is his handle, but his name is Edgar. Pello Maldonado, of course, and then Vladimir. But Vladimir has just
The ghost.
He's a shadow of what he used to be, man. But I'm telling you, that's on purpose because he can't report it to the TV network that we were a part of, so he doesn't want to release exclusive, and he's probably not getting the exclusive anymore because we don't got that contract anymore. Can't be leaking our news.
And he's not the top reporter at TUDN. It's Gibran.
Yeah, no, but he was for us. He was for
Yeah.
the Plaza of Monterrey.
I know, but not even really for Rayados like that anymore.
Yeah, no, that's Diego Armando Lord Cancha Reglamentaria. But anyways, don't believe everything you see on Facebook, guys. There's only 2 rumors, and those are the guys that we talked about. Danilo Barbosa, Alan Franco, and superstar captain Aldo Rocha, with potentially Samir staying on board. That might be a good rumor to start Double O Nation. Samir staying.
Samir's thing.
The,
At this point, I mean, no one's showed interest. They've not linked him anywhere.
the only thing that you should believe on the internet is the memes involving the neighbors.
La gallina.
Oh,
Es la hora de dormir.
That's true.
Es la hora de perder la sexta final en casa.
Yeah, and the buried chicken. That's true. That's something you can definitely believe.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that you can search La Gallina or something on Google Maps and it takes you to the Estadio BBVA. That's incredible.
That's amazing. Sergio
Bro.
Calambres, literally him falling on the floor like a couple times in the game last night because he couldn't handle the heat.
Love that. Love
So great.
that.
Oh,
So calendar was released, guys.
man.
Teams.
We start off none other than powerful Atlético San Luis.
No manches.
If we don't win that game, and I'm going to say this right now, if we do not win that game, Pauno needs to get fired.
We're on the road.
It doesn't matter.
We're gonna get 3-0 again, bro. Vitinho's
Guys,
gonna
if he
score
didn't get
2.
fired for losing for and getting eliminated against them, he's not going to get fired for a Jornada 1 game.
No, but he
He's not
should.
gonna get
I'm
fired
not
for-
thinking he will, but he definitely
But he
should.
definitely should. Yeah.
Well, he should have been fired already.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
he's gonna start the same lineup that he started the last time we went there. Ibanez, Antuna. Mañez.
Love that. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
we deserve what we're going through. Oh my
So-
God.
So that's week
Antuna.
1. Week 2 is Viernes Botanero against Mazapan.
Whoa, hold on there. Mazapan whooped us 2-0.
Yeah, but that was away, bro. That ain't-
Put some respect on Victor Manuel Vucetich and his team.
Bro, the last time we played Mazapan at home was when Samir scored a goal. So, and Marcelo had like,
He still has a
3
chance to
goal
score a goal because he's staying.
that's true. Watch him start that game.
It's going to
I'm
be
gonna
his comeback.
post that tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Well, overall, anything that stood out from the calendar release?
To be honest, it doesn't feel like we have like a daunting stretch ever. Like it all kind of balanced out.
Yeah. They're
I
like
guess-
spread out.
Yeah,
But-
I guess the only like kind of tough stretch is back into the season, Jornada 13 against at America at the Cuauhtémoc. Actually, you probably have 2 games at the Cuauhtémoc because you have Puebla after that, and then you have a Clásico Regio, and then you go to Pachuca. Those are like
Yeah.
4 of the last 5 games. That's probably the toughest stretch of the season, besides maybe Jornada
Yeah,
5
They're well spread out.
yeah. Toluca being week 5, Atlas week 6, Cruz Azul week 7. That's probably the other tough stretch. And even then, that's not that tough because Atlas is a.
Okay.
What stood out is how late it's starting. We all thought it was going to start the week of the 5th, starting on the 11th.
Yeah, that was interesting.
How many trips
Why
are
is
we
that?
making to Monterrey, boys?
Dude,
At least
I wanted
one,
to go.
hopefully.
I wanted to go to in January, but I don't know if I can go the 28th for that game. I think it's on a Tuesday. No.
Yes. No, yes, on a Tuesday against Cholos.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's to be determined. But if anybody knows that's watching that knows anybody that's selling an abono, hit me up. I want to buy an abono or a couple of abonos.
I'm trying to go at least a couple times, mainly because I want to see Gignac play as much as possible before he leaves.
Yeah, that's definitely on my mind as well. Maybe we could take a trip around the same time, Dennis. Go to the stadium.
Yeah. I like high key want to go to the Clásico this year, even though it's gonna be
When is it?
super expensive.
April
April
12th.
Week before
Oh,
Easter.
No, I can't. I have a wedding. I can't do anything in March. I'm like committed every weekend, and then April. That's the weekend of one of my really good friends' wedding, and I'm standing in it. It's got to be February. Let's see if we can knock out February. But obviously, feel free to go to that Clásico game. But if you can go February, that'd be great.
DVD depends on flights.
Okay. What else we got? CCL opponent confirmed. Thoughts on the draw?
So we
Real
have
Estelí.
yep, first week of February.
February 5th.
I'm glad we have because I thought last year that first round it was like we had the game in Vancouver 1 week and then like 2 weeks and then the second leg of Vancouver. I'm glad it's just back to back weeks this time.
Yeah, they're back weeks, and then a week of no games, and then another back-to-back weeks for the next round.
Correct. Yeah. Looking ahead, assuming we actually have success in this competition this year, because boy golly, I don't know if we are. We ended up on the worst half.
We
of
go
the
to
bracket,
Cincinnati on March.
probably. I
Bro,
think they're selling Lucho Acosta, so I'm not. That doesn't really concern me as much as it did previously.
but then we got America or Cruz Azul in our side.
Yes, but that would
But
not
not
be
until
the
semifinals.
That's
Yeah.
if we make it there.
correct. If we
I mean,
make the quarterfinal, we would probably play LA Galaxy,
Tough.
which that would be very fun. They will be without Puig though, so it'd be different.
Ricky Push. Love
That was
Ricky.
like, and then there's also, isn't Denver in there or no?
Salt Lake, yeah,
Salt Lake.
but
City.
they would have to be Galaxy.
Yeah.
And I don't think they will.
I
Personally.
mean, honestly, I don't care. I my thoughts on the CONCACAF Champions League is don't get embarrassed. That's my first line of order. Second line of order is make it to the quarterfinals.
Third line of
because-
order is Rafa Carioca don't get a red card.
Edgar talked about like, we have to win the CONCACAF and we should strive to win it. I just don't know if I have the confidence that's going to happen.
Not with Pauno. We're not
I
winning
mean,
it.
that's
And so a realistic expectation for me is like, one, don't get embarrassed. Two, get to the quarterfinals, if not pass it.
yeah.
And anything after that, it's like, oh, nice. Oh, nice again. I just don't see it. I think, once we potentially meet, any of these MLS teams who are going to be tough, and then eventually Cruz Azul or America, I just don't see us getting past that.
I'm just gonna be hyped for Gignac to hopefully be healthy and hopefully get a few games in that he could get a couple goals in, because I think he's going for that record of most goals in CONCACAF.
Oh, where's he at? Is Aldo
I think
Nigres still?
he's either in second place or tied right now.
Yeah, Aldo Nigres leads that, no?
No, I think it's not the Nigres. It's is it Aldo Nigres?
No,
Or is it-
Chuletita Orozco. Chuletita Orozco. leads
Orozco.
that.
Yep, Chuleto
But
Orozco.
I think Nigres is up there, because I do recall his names. But yeah, that's a good point, Alfred. I mean, honestly, that's what this whole last season should be about. How can we make sure Gignac scores 10 plus goals in league play, and then maybe if we squeeze by into Liguilla, and then he gets a couple more, because he didn't score any this season in Liguilla. So I think he's also got a record or a tier that he's fighting for there, most goals in a Liguilla. Nahuel obviously getting more shutouts. Guido Pizarro, getting more games under his belt, more clásicos. Javier Aquino, the same thing. I think that to me is the important part. Is like, how can we make these guys?
Their numbers more legendary.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that will require having good people who can cross the ball, and don't know if we have that at the moment. So
Yeah, valid point. I was gonna say
Hey,
we got. I was gonna say PKs, but my man decided over the last 2 years he wants to miss more PKs than ever.
He just got to go back to his traditional way of kicking them.
Bro, what happened? Like, why did he change that, dude? Like, that's where I like.
And he changed it in a quarterfinal of
I want-
CONCACAF last year.
I want to believe that's. I feel like that's where like age might come into play. Not so much like running aspect, but just the lack of. I don't want to use the word hunger because I don't want to like disrespect him like that. I just feel like it just became nonchalant. It's, I can knock it out anywhere I want, as opposed to still keeping the unbeatable shot that he had.
Yeah.
How many times did we see that shot get missed? Yeah.
0.
If he got it stopped, it's because he didn't shoot it the way that he normally would shoot it. And so, but yeah, that's why I was gonna say PK's Alfred, but then I was gonna no, I'm not gonna say that because he's definitely missed a couple. But then I was like, okay, well maybe we have free kicks, but then again we get not as many free kick goals. Like I think Gignac is the only one. I think he has the most free kick goals over the last 10 years in Liga MX history. I think somebody pointed out a stat.
Yeah, we saw that too. Yep.
Yeah, I think it was Xavi Sol. If anybody, I would bet my money on that. Threw that stat out. That would be him. What else we got? Let's close out this pod.
2025 kit. Anybody buy it?
I did.
Did you end up getting the player edition?
Yeah, I did. I got suckered into it. Then I saw Tigres jersey like basically get right off that it's not a good buy.
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of uncalled for.
And then I thought about you and Lou and buying the players edition. And I was like, these fuckers always buy the players edition. And I was like, here's Tigres jersey, the most credible guy that comes to our jerseys, saying that it's not a good purchase. And I was like, oh, good thing it was only $111 because it was on sale for 30% off. But then I was like, ooh, I could have bought the regular white jersey for $70-some with tax. And then I was like, damn, why did I spend $40 more than I needed to? That was a conversation in my head after I saw that tweet. And I was like, damn Dennis, damn Lou, always talking about the player edition.
I only have one, dog. I don't know where you're getting this.
How many? This is my first one. I chose to buy this one. I was like, why did I do that?
That is
one.
Huh?
Yeah, I thought you had one too.
I might have the Noel. Well, the Noel one is a player edition, but I've never worn the Noel jersey because I got an XL, and XL is a little snug on me, and that's probably one that I'll probably have to give away or raffle off or even potentially sell because I spent $200 on that motherfucking jersey, and it's the red one with the greenish number.
Yeah.
Excellent jersey. I think it's the only one that is player actually edition. I'll have to look. I might have one more, but like the last probably like 6 jerseys or 5 jerseys, non-player edition.
I need to see how the player edition looks on the field before considering buying it. You know what I mean? Especially since it's the white color, that's like my big concern as to like how it will look in that scenario. That's probably why I haven't bought it yet. I probably will get the replica, to be honest with you. The only player one that I have is the blue one from this year, and it looks great in the player edition. Like the detail of the crest looks really good. The little details are better. It fits nice. I don't know. Like I think that's probably the only one that is worth getting in a player edition.
Okay, well, not the white one.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know.
Shout out Arnaldo.
If you're still up late with us, and if you have money to spend, you have 50 minutes to go on Adidas and go get any of the stuff that's on their website with this collection for 30% off using the code HOLIDAY. I'm pretty sure the shirt, both the jerseys, the pants, and the polo.
The cool thing is they were already on sale. They were already 20% off.
I know. And now you can get it for an extra 10% off for the next 45 minutes.
Lovely.
Not to mention, like, really interesting thing. This is, I think, the first time that the third kit collection is released here in the States. Like, I know for the Volcano kit, there was also a jacket. I think, Alfred, you have the shirt, don't you? It's like the Adidas logo with the Volcano.
The Adidas logo, yep.
Yeah, it's always been the jersey.
Yeah,
there's a pants, too, and a polo.
Yeah, the polo.
Yeah, none of that stuff got released here in the States last December.
Or there's never been a player edition jersey released in the States either.
That's true.
It goes back to your point, Edgar, that you brought up earlier. You focusing on the different types of the brand.
Yeah,
gotta get that merch.
Carefully executed plan for merch. Not to mention the long sleeve kits are coming back for 2025.
Hallelujah!
Yeah, and so for us in the States that are giving us these discounts and Adidas making them available for people in Mexico, they're doing you guys saw their that they have like a special wrapping paper Tigres wrapping paper. So if you go out and buy physically at the end of the new kit, they'll give you the Tigres wrapping paper.
Bro, see, we're sharks when it comes to that. Yep.
I just love Squidward's face in this. Just like that's just so good.
That's all of us though. I mean, that was me when I got the white polo.
Bro, my cart for everything I bought off of the Tigre Tienda once like they made available some stock items that have been off of stock. My cart was like over 7,000 pesos. I was like, what am I doing?
Yo, you know what I want to like propose to us, and we'll have to share with Lou for this upcoming year. I want us to keep a note on our phones how much money we spend on this team in the entire year.
Okay.
That includes tickets. That includes like
Flight.
merch, flights, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to take a guess, it was easily at least 2 to 3, maybe 4 for me.
Yep.
Yeah, at least $1,000
Probably same here.
for me.
Oh, easily the grand. I spent $200 on Miami, the Miami game right off the rip. $50 in parking as soon as you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me. I took the train. $5, baby.
So, yeah, we'll see, guys. What else we got to close out the pod, Edgar?
Well, I think we covered all the important things. Shout out to, as I think Dennis mentioned earlier, apparently there's a lot of engagements and weddings going on within the team. Goreran, one of them, Jocelyn Montoya, the other.
Shout out
Congratulations to both of them.
Congratulations.
Yes. The Leagues Cup restructure.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's interesting. If you don't know, listener, they're basically doing it how we thought that they should do it. I think we had this idea. I think they listened to our show a few months ago, a la Champions League style, in the middle of both leagues. However, it's going to last the same amount of time, just a little bit later. So I don't know how that's going to work. But there's only 18 of the 30 MLS teams that are going to be participating in them. So
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I missed that part.
That's how it's going to be different. Instead of all 30 whatever, to make it even, it's going to be 36.
So
total.
you reward the best teams from the previous season and allow them to actually fight for the berth for the CONCACAF champions?
I don't know. They haven't announced who is going to be of those 18 teams. The only team that has independently announced that they're playing in it is Miami.
Yeah.
The other 17 we don't know. So it could be Miami and like, I don't know, whoever was really bad this year. I can't remember who was like Austin wasn't that good. It could be Miami and Austin and Charlotte and I don't know, San Diego. Probably they'll probably try to throw in San Diego in there just to have them do something.
Oh yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it because it's their first one.
Yeah,
and it's a good spot. It's a good spot because you can play in Tijuana and San Diego easily.
Yeah.
Most of those games are going to be during the week, like
they'll
games.
all be during the week. Yeah.
Because if it's going to be during league play games are going to be in the weekend, so league cups are going to be in the weekdays. So we're going to have to travel on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Yeah. So
Yo,
we'll get more details in January about that.
Our focus our focus should always to win any hardware, but I think our focus we'll have to prioritize that one because I don't know how we're going to be doing in the league to come back to another CONCACAF Champions League. So
yeah, and that one's going to give three spots.
Yeah, that might be the easier route.
Yeah. So in order to make 26 Champions Cup, like we previously talked about, we have to be better than Toluca. We basically have to have a killer regular season this season or make the final, which I don't think either of those are likely. So then in that case, you have to do good in Leagues Cup. You have to get a top 3 finish.
Dude, I think Toluca is going to fly with Mohamed.
Yeah.
They're going to give up 3 goals but they're going to score 5.
Probably right.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless it's against America, then they'll forget how to play soccer.
yeah, true. God.
Femenil, who's the player we
Nothing.
just signed? We haven't talked
Jennifer
about this
Cordelli.
Her, yes. We haven't talked about her, at least on the show.
I mean, dude, it's been a week since she's like been sort of announced that she's going to sign on by like every like credible media member that covers the team on the men's and the women's side, and still nothing from the club.
And if I'm not mistaken, they also start preseason this week. I mean, I think they have to because they play before the men do. They play on January 6th, sorry.
The 6th, yeah. We open up against, I just sent it to you guys.
Tijuana.
Yeah. Yep.
Tijuana, yeah.
At home. What a great way to celebrate Insurrection Day. Let me stop. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm looking at that schedule right now. I mean, we have a lot more away games than we do home games this half season. The Clásico is on February 14th.
Oh, love that. Shout out. Take your significant other.
That's right.
Easy date.
At the BBVA.
I like the stadium. I don't like the environment. It's not because I'm a Tigres fan, but it's really annoying to hear somebody say Rayados tiene aguante the entire game and playing the song the entire game just to get them going.
Yeah. I agree. There's a like a 2-week break in February. So like they play the Clásico and then they don't play till March 3rd. So
Dude,
I guess that's an international break, I'm sure.
Is that for Conca Champions? Maybe?
No.
Women's
No,
Champions?
No, I don't know. I don't know what that could be, to be honest.
Do we foresee a good season for Tigres Femenil?
I think it'll be a copy and paste of last season. I think
I
they'll
think it will be too.
make us want to rip our hair out. They'll somehow still finish in the top 3 as expected, and then we'll screw up somewhere in playoffs.
Hey, well, going back to this just reminded me. So I think they have to let go of a foreign player in order for this new girl to come in. I think that's why they haven't announced it.
Do they?
I thought we had one spot open.
Yeah, we had one spot open.
I read
Yeah,
somewhere
it's
they
5.
needed to go.
It's
There
5.
was a second player that was rumored to join. I don't remember who at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that when that came up, I think we're talking about the same tweet, Alfred, that we saw. Somebody posted like, "Who will you like go out of the 4?" And everybody was like, easily Jenny. And but that's because if you want to bring another one, because they increased to 5 players. This upcoming season, I think you're allowed to have 5 players.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
because we have both Anas, Jenny, and Thembi.
And
are
then
4
those are
players.
4, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Didn't we have another player though? I thought we had another foreigner that didn't even play.
We had Evelyn, and we sent her to Milan because she was awful.
That one. I think that's the one I was.
And then she turned into a god for like 2 weeks.
But if you have to let go, like it's got to be Ana Diaz or Jenny Hermoso, and I think that you brought in the Brazilian Cordelli to be the starter, and then Ana Diaz could be an excellent backup, and you don't have to like hope that Alison Gonzalez scores some goals as the backup. And she
Watch Mayor start.
No manches, bro.
Yeah. I'll keep it a buck. I don't think that Hermoso is gonna leave before like the summer. I think they're
she won't.
I think they're gonna try to keep things intact as much as possible with the foreigners until after the Champions Cup is over.
Yeah, and there's no really big need. Like you made the final, and like she didn't have to be the best player, but she brings off the field marketing and representation. She's she's a fan favorite to a lot of people. So I think it's one of those things like similar to like the Cordoba situation. It's like it's letting them go is not necessarily like I have to. They can stick around and it won't hurt us.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. On that note, we'll be here probably closer to the beginning of the new year. There ain't nothing to talk about.
Oh, from the vault. Hold on. From the vault. We have to commemorate Final Regia, an old 7 years ago. What a night.
It could be just me, but it doesn't really excite me. I don't like getting stuck in the past. I want my team to be better. I want them to be in the finals now. I don't care about that title no more or as much. I'm trying to win some more cups.
Good thing is we can rub it in their face.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Exactly. This is
we won at the BBVA. They did.
Yes, exactly. That's why I brought it up in the context of them choking the bed last night.
But what do you like? We all obviously prefer them in cups. Like, I'd rather be in the cups than be sitting here making fun of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But making fun of them is fun. En su casa con su gente.
But they bring it upon themselves. They definitely bring it upon themselves. Es la hora. Es la hora to get off the pod.
All right, guys.
Y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. Good talking to you guys. Everybody that tuned in,
Merry
thank you so much.
Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Feliz Navidad, everybody. Follow us on
Absolutely.
social.
Have a great holiday.